Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to A Wild Podcast Has Appeared, the official Pokemon podcast of Comicbook.com. I am one of your hosts, Jim Viscardi, and as always, I am joined by Megan Peters and Christian Hoffer for our 55th episode.
Yeah.
That's a lot of episodes.
That is a lot of episodes.
That's a lot of talk about Pokemon and everything about Pokemon, because that's what this show is about. We go through news. We go through what's going on.
Is it really a podcast about Pokemon, or is it a podcast about life using Pokemon as a backdrop?
It's really both. It's honestly both. And while we're here, I would like to make a pitch. This is our 55th episode, but I feel like instead of us representing it as episode 55, we should just be calling it like episode whatever the 55th Pokemon is in the Pokedex. I feel like we're really missing out on an opportunity here.
That's what it's not the 55th Pokemon, but it would mess up Christian's Pokemon Facts of the Week, which is everyone's favorite part of the show that you can find at the very end of the show, because the show is broken up into 3 parts. We do a news section at the very beginning, we take a quick break, we do a deep dive, and then boom, Pokemon Fact of the Week to make you a better, smarter Pokemon fan. Like how we did that?
This would be episode Golduck. Nice,
yes.
staying on task there, Jim.
Really,
I approve.
Yeah, he really tried to segue, and then Hoffer and I ripped
and
control
Jim,
back and threw
right
it
back around.
I'm the captain now.
All right, so we're on episode Golduck.
Episode Golduck. We have a great episode for you this week. There's quite a bit happened this week that it's not like crazy earth-shattering stuff, but enough that's like fun and stuff. So why don't we just get right into it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the second to last thing first, because I love this thing and I just ordered one.
Me too. I ordered it too. Yes.
So the Pokemon Center is now getting into the pool inflatable business with the most apt of them all, a giant Lapras.
And this thing is huge.
It's enormous. If you've seen,
huge.
It's just so funny because we just bought like a giant unicorn one for my kid, and I'm like, now I just want to take a knife to it because we just got Lapras, and who the hell needs the unicorn now?
Jim, do you have like a pool in your backyard?
My in-laws do, and they live next door.
Look at that.
Really? Your in-laws live right next door to you?
Sure do.
Wow.
Look at that. Hey.
Yeah, there's a lot of family going on.
That's all right. I have a pool in my backyard currently, and this float will barely fit in it, but I don't care. It is just big enough of
That's
a
fine.
pool.
Even if you don't have a pool, I would inflate it. I would inflate it anyway, stick it in my backyard, and lay on it.
Oh, absolutely. You do not need a hammock. Basically, this thing is like 8 feet tall by like 6 feet wide. Its weight capacity is like 500 pounds.
Yeah,
it's huge. It is a huge Lapras. It's basically you just get to surf on Lapras like in real life. It's amazing.
For the low price of $50.
Yeah,
honestly not that bad.
Compared to a lot of the other giant Pokemon things that we have talked about on the show. Like this is like the most like cost efficient one yet.
Yeah.
There's also beach balls in the shape of Pokeballs, by the way. As part of this
those. That's
sunset collection.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of like cool like tank tops. I've been like rocking the tank tops recently, and I think I'm gonna buy a couple of these.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I am 900% a fan of the entire collection. I'm not like usually during the summer, like I go to the beach several times. That's not happening this year because quarantine. But with the new pool that I have at my house, I'm going to make up for everything with Lapras. I'm so excited.
So do you have an inflatable pool in your backyard, Megan, or is this like a more of a real pool?
It's not an inflatable pool. It's more of like a real pool. We haven't finished the patio around it, unfortunately. So it's just kind of there. But
I'm really impressed by the Tennessee contingent of our podcast. Like,
come on down, Christian.
Like Jim, I could have words about that with you, sir. But I won't. I live in a very dense urban neighborhood, so the best we can do is like an inflatable pool, which I did over the weekend for my son. I spent like 40 minutes I'm not going to do that that hand gesture anymore.
Good.
But I definitely hand pumped that, and there were 4 things I had to pump up for this.
Oh, Christian, just get a air compressor. They're like $60 and they make your life so much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, but I only inflate things like once a year.
Today on Inflatable Pool Life Hacks.
Yes, this is how
Buy
you do
an
it.
air compressor.
But I'm just saying, if they need to come out with more of these, because Lapras, 900% excited. My pool can't fit more than one, but I need more of
I know
them.
it makes no sense to do a Snorlax, but Snorlax obviously would be a great one.
Yeah,
or even like a star
lawn chair or something like that. I don't
even like a Staryu or a Starmie would be pretty cool.
Like a littler one. That would like a kid's float. Be good. Definitely would love a Whale Lord. That would have to be.
Like an inflatable house-sized whale lord. By the way, Jim, Snorlax would make sense because Snorlax learned Surf.
He does know Surf. That's right.
Yeah. But the Snorlax, if they make one, I'm pitching this to the Pokemon Company. I'm so in love. They'd have to give him like swim trunks. That's all I want, because that would just be adorable. But anyways, I digress. We're not being paid to say this, obviously. We're just very excited.
Very excited. All right, so that's enough on pool floats. Pokemon Home got a big update.
Yes, it did.
Which is like, we haven't talked about Pokemon Home since it launched, and for it to get an update like this means it's a big deal.
It is.
So talking about it.
It was a 2-parter. So they're the main thing that they did was they added all the battle data. So it used to be you could go to like the global link system, which was like a website, and you could look up your actual stats on how you did in previous online competitions. That died with the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Mm-hmm. But they re-added functionality similar to like the global trade system. Like global trade system died and then it came back within Pokemon Home. It's the same thing. So they added that functionality, which is great. And to kind of like celebrate that, right now they've like decreased like Wonder Trade, so it only takes like an hour to do. You can trade remotely with your friends, which was something that you previously couldn't do. There's actually a lot of great functionality that's like all temporary for some freaking reason.
Yeah, and I wonder if this was because like if they had originally planned to do all of this stuff, like the temporary nature of it is weird, or if they did this because like people are at home and maybe usage of home started to dip a little bit and they're like, how do we get people back into home? And this is how they did it.
Yeah, but they just need to add more functional. Like I used home for a while. Like I was on there like trying to increase my Pokedex size and like my national Pokedex, and then I just kind of got bored. Because there's not
there's no real reason to use it other than storage.
Yeah, and like you don't have Pokemon Go functionality, which I need Pokemon Go functionality because my Pokedex is starting to fill up on there, or not my storage. Speaking of which.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the temporary nature, since this is like for a special occasion, if maybe this is just like the Pokemon Company trying to like slow roll these functions and like figure out which ones work, which ones are used the most, what can we do? And then like in 6 months, they'll be like, ta-da, it's here. We just had to test it first.
Yeah, that was kind of what I thought it might be a soft test of it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
That would make sense.
Well, go check them out. I mean, if there's stuff that you need to do, especially like the trading with friends thing, obviously is a big one, mainly because, if you've got friends and you've been wanting to do a trade, but you can't do it because of, game locks or whatever, now is the time to do it. So if you've been waiting to do it, have fun.
Yeah.
I like how you preface that, Jim, with "if you have friends." Like, what are you trying to say about our listeners, man?
No, he's trying not to make them feel bad because quarantining is hard. Reach out to people who are your friends. They want to hear from you, and if you're too shy, we're here for you.
That's very kind of you, Megan.
Thank you, Megan. That was perfect.
Thank you.
In Pokemon Sword and Shield news, obviously, we've been talking about these over the last couple of weeks. The new Gigantamax raids involving various Pokemon that were otherwise locked behind certain gates or whatever. And this week is Gigantamax Meowth, but by the time you hear it, it'll probably be over.
Just about
next
over.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you haven't gotten Gigantamax Meowth yet, or had no idea he was out, he is. Go get him, and just complete
you have
your Gigantamax.
like 3 days.
Yeah.
But if you want the perfect one, you only have 3 days.
Yes.
If you don't care, you've got 3 days.
Yeah, if you want the perfect one, step 1, leave all of your Pokemon at the curb. Step 2, never acknowledge that you even had them in the first place. Step 3, get yourself a perfect Meowth.
All right. Is anyone playing through the Sinnoh Throwback Challenge in Pokemon Go?
I am. I need to walk 0.1 more kilometers to get to the final step. This one has been the biggest pain in the butt yet, because they have catch a steel type Pokemon as one of them, and no freaking steel type Pokemons are spawning.
Yeah.
Luckily, they did a bronzer
event
yesterday, so I was able to snag 30 of those. I literally dragged my son out for a walk at 6:30. I was like, "Come along, son, we're walking."
I did that during the CDOT event, and I was just like, Nora, get on your bike, let's go. Daddy, what are you doing? I was like, no, because normally my daughter and I will take a walk around the block in the evening, and I'll let her, I pad my phone up real nice, and I let her catch some Pokemon on the walk. But this one was unprompted and not at our normal time. And so Nora was like, Daddy, are you catching Pokemon? And I was like, nope. Swipe. You just keep riding that bike.
It's just if you can't recognize the very opposite.
Well, but she also gets really frustrated if the same Pokemon show up over and over again. She doesn't necessarily grasp the idea of the fact that when there's events like this, you will see a million of whatever, and so it's just best if I just don't clue her in on those. And
my son gets he loses interest unless they're cool Pokemon. So Bronzer yesterday. Yeah, don't mind me. I just got my last 1 kilometers just sitting here, so I gotta finish up. We have less than 2 days to finish this, and I don't want. It's Obama Snow,
nice.
Which I like Obama Snow mainly because I don't think I'm pronouncing it right. I definitely say it Obama Snow.
No, it's Obama Snow.
Obama Snow.
Yeah, I like saying Obama Snow. It just makes me smile. Yeah. There's no political motivation here. It just makes me chuckle that a former president can be a Pokemon. That's all. Anyways, back to more.
Great story, Christian.
Thank you.
That's got me wondering if in the Pokemon universe a Pokemon could become president.
Probably.
Could you imagine?
I mean, look at the leadership.
President of the Kanto region is I don't know, a Raichu or a Weedle.
Look at the terrible leadership we've gotten so far, and within the Pokemon canon, we have Chairman Rose, who's the only politician that we've ever seen, right? And he literally tried to blow up the Galar region.
Right, everyone in positions of power have been terrible.
They're all awful.
Giovanni, they've either been crime lords or terrible people.
Yeah. So
this is true.
Yeah, I think we should turn over to the Pokemon, which brings us in to another news point. The planned end for the Pokemon anime
is dark.
It was
dark.
So
it was dark.
Before we jump into this, I would just like to say that every new news story that comes out about the former head of the Pokemon anime writer, the more and more convinced, the stuff he was pitching is just ludicrous. All of it is absolutely nuts, and no wonder none of it actually made it into existence.
Yeah, he wanted to turn the Pokemon anime into I don't know, just something
crazy
out of Attack on Titan, Hunger Games,
Neon Genesis,
Yeah, it was dark. But basically, kind of just to break it down, we've talked about this interview dump in a previous episode, but the original writer of the Pokemon anime, Takashi Shudo, in one of his blog posts basically said what his plan was for for the last Pokemon episode because he was convinced that like it wasn't going to last long enough. Pokemon was going to have to come to an end eventually. So for one of his pitches, he was basically like, all right, so Pikachu figures out that all Pokemon are slaves. And he's not okay with that. So he basically becomes the underground leader. And we're talking about Ash's Pikachu here. He becomes the underground leader of a Pokemon revolution and a rebellion army that uprises against humanity to try to wipe out humanity and then like become like over them. And then Ash has to lead the humans against the Pokemon. So it becomes like a full Pokemon human war. And the mediator of the war is the best part because it falls down to Jesse and James and Meowth to try to broker an end to this war because Meowth can understand Pokemon and speak English. So Meowth is supposed to be basically the negotiator between both sides of discussing like, how do we stop this from ending the world? And it doesn't go well. So basically the idea for the final episode of the Pokemon anime from the original writer was just complete Les Miserables revolt.
Can you imagine being like one of the suits at the Pokemon company and this guy like comes in like it seems like every day and it's like, you know, this guy like storms in the office like hair disheveled. It's like, okay, I figured out how we want the anime to end. And it's like the anime's not ending, it's a runaway success. And he's like, no, I just know that if the Pokemon is going to end, this is how I want it to end. Ash drowns in a puddle. And it's like, no, that's a terrible idea. The puddle was made by a Squirtle. That's even worse. Why would you do it? Pikachu is pressing Ash's head into the puddle as it happens. Like, no, we just want you to write an episode about how, like, there's a flock of Stantler that Ash meet. Like, what are you doing, man? It's like, okay, how about this? Ash and Misty are in love, but they can't be together because their parents kill each other. It's like, what are you doing? This is a child's program. It's like, how about this? The Pokemon are mecha now, but also humans. It's like, no, go back to your freaking desk. Like every freaking interview, it's just like, these just insane concepts where it's just like, you know, like I don't wish to speak ill of the dead because this man unfortunately like passed away. But he clearly had some like unresolved issues that he was taking out in the Pokemon franchise.
Yeah, I mean, notoriously, Shudo was he greatly enjoyed his job with Pokemon, but he was also very frustrated by the limited and repetitive nature of it. Basically, he thought that Pokemon, as just like a franchise, would end in 5 years. And so when he spoke with like the director and they said, oh, this is going to go on 10 years, if not longer. He was like, he said after he heard that, he went and got himself like blackout drunk because he didn't know how to like cope with it. So obviously you can understand why he probably had some more aggressive ideas about how to end the series. Probably really wanted it to end permanently. Like there's no way it could come back from this. But yeah, that was his original idea. It's never going to happen, but it's fun to know. That was at least that was the original writer's intended plan for the end.
Every single one of these like ideas he pitches sounds like those like terrible like Tumblr posts that they take like one throwaway detail and like come up with an entire headcanon like around it. Only like this guy actually had the power to do something. I mean, he didn't really, because again, this franchise was never going to go down the dark path of like Ash and Pikachu face off in a final battle and blow each other's arms off or something like that. But it is just like, I just like every time I see like a headline from these like interviews, I'm just like, oh my god, dude, like it's amazing. It is freaking amazing.
Yeah, he was very invested in what was happening. So, unfortunately, he is no longer with us. That plan is no longer. I mean, it was never actioned in any way. There was never any action behind the plan. That was just his personal idea. And we still seem quite a long ways out from the final end of Pokemon. So I guess we'll see. We don't know what's going to happen to good old Ash Boy and Pikachu. So
Luckily, in like only 2 weeks, we get to see Ash's latest chapter in English.
yes,
So
good. Yes, we're counting down the days until Netflix brings Pokemon Journeys to the catalog. It's coming out in June. Comes out the same day that One Piece comes to Netflix. So we're going to have a really great battle right there.
Well, with that dark turn, let's take a quick break and then go into two big Pokemon data leaks. Okay, so I feel like it's just been weird because like we talked about leaks, we've been talking about leaks more and more over the last couple of weeks, and not that some of them like have been long withstanding leaks, but like these new ones though are nuts. One obviously comes really more from Pokemon Home, but the other one is from Ruby and Sapphire and Diamond Pearl.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
So we'll go through the Pokemon Home one first because that's probably the most will have the biggest effect on stuff happening potentially in the very near future, because this points to potential Galar stuff, which is very, very exciting because that's one of the things I know I've been kind of looking forward to as we get closer and closer to the expansions for the game. So Christian, I'll let you hit this first one up.
So in the data mine of Pokemon Home, there were 21 new moves that were leaked. That's not exactly surprising. I mean, assumably this downloadable content would feature like some new moves, but some of them seem to like hint that either we're going to get some new Pokemon, maybe some new Galar Pokemon in addition to Galar Slowbro and the legendary Pokemon that we know about. So because a lot of these seem like high level like signature moves. So my personal favorite is Shell Sidearm, which seems to indicate that Galar Slowbro has a gun.
Alrighty then. Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong, but last time I looked, Shell Sidearm.
Misty Explosion, I feel like could probably be a Gigantamax Blastoise move, or I guess not, because those Gigantamax moves have pretty generic.
Yeah,
moves.
they had like that would be like G-Max.
Yeah.
G-Max Water Blast or some.
Yeah, like the Misty Explosion or Dual Wing Beat. Just even looking at them I thought could have been like Blastoise and Charizard stuff.
Yeah, most of the new moves are pretty cool. There's one that's called just Poltergeist, which maybe that means that like Poltegeist is getting an exclusive, like getting a like signature move. Because something that I noticed about a lot of these Galar Pokemon is that not every Pokemon needs to have a signature move, but I felt like more Pokemon than usual did not have a signature move in here. Yep. And even the Kubfu and Urshifu, like their like signature moves were just moves that other Pokemon already knew. And so this seems to indicate that no, there will be more moves coming, which pleases me. It makes me happy. So
hopefully, I mean, and what that also means too is we'll probably get new move animations as well.
Yes, that comes along with the new moves.
Well, no, but I mean, they could have just been, they could have just tweaked, some of the damage modifiers and whatever, and still gave them new or tweaked existing moves. But that was one of the biggest complaints when Sword and Shield launched, was that they were duplicating a lot of moves and animations and things like that. So
to be fair, those complaints, they were just looking for stuff to complain. I mean, like I say this lovingly about the Pokemon franchise, move animations is not what I come to look at. That's not what I'm going for when I pick up a Pokemon game.
I love I remember as a kid, and even more so now, it's probably more nostalgia than anything else, but like anytime that they updated what Surf looked like, I was like all about that, because Surf is one of the cooler looking moves in that game that got pretty good animations for. So just watch it. because I like
Wow.
moves.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting this to be the hill that Jim Biscardi dies on, but you learn something new every day.
What? I mean, but some of them are really, really cool though.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. There are move animations that are awesome. Like Fallings, like his signature move is, the one that's like straight out 300.
Yeah,
You're
it's the
like,
greatest one.
That is like in terms of move, like move animations in the history of the Pokemon franchise. There's no topping that. That is the best there ever was, and it's the best there ever will be. The only thing that would make that better is if like Fallings literally kicks a Pokemon down a well while screaming, "This is Galar."
If they don't add that with the expansion passes, then I'm gonna be mad now.
I would say Phalanx is one of the not most, but he is definitely one of the underappreciated Pokemon of Sword and Shield.
I have so many questions about Phalanx. Like so many questions.
Like he deserves his own DLC, basically. Like I need to know some stuff about him.
Like what like I guess my first question is what? My second question is why? And my third question is how. I mean, okay. This kind of ties in with our PokeFact of the week. So there's this weird thing with Pokemon that, they refer to like collectives of Pokemon in the singular. Like we have a lot of like hive mind Pokemon, like multiple. Like, but Phalanx is implicitly implied to be plural Pokemon that group together. And it's like, so what does that make the individual like Phalink? Like what are they? Like, like how did they how when they come out of the egg, is it like a cluster? Is this like an execute sort of thing? Are these actually Galarian execute that just put on like shields and armor and stuff and then like run off to war? Like I have so many questions about this Pokemon. Like I cannot wait. Like it's kind of like, and like there's a lot. Like I was like realizing this today. This was like my big revelation of the day. It was like, man, there are a lot of Pokemon, which it's like they have like multiple brains. Like, you've got like your Beldum evolution. Like, that's
like,
just like
how many Phalanx make up a Phalanx, right?
Yeah,
Right.
It's like 6, I think. It's
Yeah.
5 or 6. But like that's another question. Like when two Phalanx fight, presumably one of them die. And like, so like does the leader die and then do the rest commit seppuku? Do the losers join the winning Phalanx? Can non-Phalanx join a Phalanx? Like, will one of these days we just see like a Meryl or something like pop up in a Phalanx?
Look, I just hope that Phalanx gets an evolution in the DLC because he needs one. But I always like, to me it looks like one of those things from the Mario games, those yellow.
Yeah.
Like can Phalanx do that? Can they stack up on top of each other and just like, I don't know.
Yeah, like
could you imagine? But could you imagine like a wall of them, kind of like that scene from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh my god!
I was gonna say like a whirling dervish of Phalanx, where it's like back to back, and they just like form, like they all pull out their little
put
spears.
their swords. Oh my god!
Oh my god! I mean, like the possibilities are endless here.
I mean, that would honestly probably become the strongest Pokemon, like the greatest Pokemon.
Right?
Why would you even try?
Can you just imagine?
If they could do that, they just like could make any kind of form or shape with like a shield wall and swords. Like, I love it.
I would just love to see like a Pokemon battle. Like I can't wait for the anime to try to deal with like the Phalanx just in general, where it's like, okay, I'm going to send out my Oddish. It's like Phalanx, go and hamstring them, and you see like the Phalanx like run up in like a little like shield wall, and like one of them suddenly like pull out a sword and stab Oddish in like the leg and something like or something like that. And then like finish them off. And it's like, what is going on? It's like, yeah, we use military tactics in this Pokemon battle. Like this should be Lieutenant Surge's signature Pokemon, as he is allegedly a soldier. Maybe. If he's not just a dude who like found like an army surplus store, which is like my running theory. But like Phalanx, like could you just imagine if Lieutenant Surge actually had a battalion of Phalanx to command? Like he might actually be something worth talking about.
Wow.
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 Anyways, so we had that data mine.
I'm
Wow.
still just kind of trying to come back from that
What?
blistering
Listen,
burn
it
against.
is a well-established fact that Lieutenant Surge is basically the worst gym leader of all time. I mean, we have established that over the course of the last 55 weeks. I mean, it's just like an accepted fact now. We don't even need to debate it.
I mean, I'm not debating it. I'm just
Exactly.
taken aback by just the blistering smoke I can see coming from Jim Viscardi's.
I'm like
right
actually
now.
looking at the video right now to see if like Jim has frozen or something. Like I just can't believe.
It is a simmering rage.
There we go.
That's it. But it's not that I'm mad. I'm disappointed.
Even worse.
All right, let's get to the second of the code leaks, since we went wildly off topic for this one. Raw code for Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire and Diamond and Pearl have leaked online.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it devolved into a conversation about Charizard, of course.
Basically, as it always does with Pokemon. Come on.
mean, yeah, I couldn't believe this. Like this was ridiculous. It's like, I don't know what Charizard has on the Pokemon Company. Like what blackmail that Pokemon has.
I mean, it's just he's an original. He's one of the he's one of the cooler looking Pokemon. You know, I think you have a statue on your shelf of Charizard.
That's because it was one.
That was given to me.
My
point has been my
that
point
was given to me.
Even if it's been given to you, you wouldn't put it on there if you didn't like it.
I mean, he looks cool. I'm not denying that, but he doesn't deserve 2 Mega Evolutions.
Your Pikachu is wearing a Charizard hoodie.
I have nothing to do with his wardrobe choices.
You have left it on. It could just be Pikachu.
Well, that's because he looks weird naked.
What? That's his natural state of being. Like, come on.
I have mine in the Pokeball hoodie, which is a much better look.
Yeah,
because the red goes with the cheeks. It's much better.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, like of course Charizard's gonna get some love because it's it's.
Maybe we should actually talk about why.
What happened?
Let's talk about what happened. Yeah, let's go there first.
In there wasn't too much interesting in either of these data dumps. The most interesting fact was there was a scrapped Pokemon that appears to have been an alternative evolution to Charizard. So Charmeleon would have gotten a branching evolution. We're not certain of this, but this Pokemon is classified. Its category is the Flame Pokemon, which matches that of Charizard. We knew that this would have been a Gen 1 evolution. And when you take a look, it definitely seems to indicate that Charizard would have gotten a alternative evolution. This was in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, so this was when a bunch of Gen 1 Pokemon were getting new evolutions. So it seems like, it seems to indicate that even back in the early 2000s, the Pokemon Company was already looking at ways of trying to make Charizard more special than all other Pokemon.
I'm okay.
I mean, yes.
I mean, like I said, my issue is if you give Charizard everything, it just kind of waters it down.
Are you just mad because it's not Venusaur? Like, what if it was Venusaur?
No, I mean, listen, I love Bulbasaur. Venusaur's fine. Venusaur's great. I'm not going to complain whenever Venusaur gets love. But, my personal favorite is Bulbasaur.
Yes.
So you don't really care for Venusaur. You really love just Bulbasaur.
I like Venusaur. I don't love Venusaur. I think that Bulbasaur is the superior Pokemon. So this isn't when I get a Bulbasaur, I usually evolve it up to Venusaur because that's what you do with starter Pokemon. But
Hold on a second. Do you not remember the conversation we had about evolution?
what about it? I don't actually.
Didn't you say that evolving a Pokemon is not natural and you
Well,
were
yeah, it's
very much
not.
against it?
No. I didn't say I was not against it. I said it was.
I think
it
we're gonna
was
probably have to go
weird.
back to that tape.
You're misrepresenting
Roll
me.
it. Roll it.
You're misrepresenting me. I have issues with the larger, concept of Pokemon evolution because it's weird. Also, we were just talking about this. What happens, like we'll cover this more when we get to the PokeFact of the week. But there are some strange things that happen when some Pokemon evolve that make no sense. No sense. But regardless, that's what you do in the games. You evolve Pokemon. You don't not evolve Pokemon. That's just silly.
You have the choice to not evolve Pokemon.
Yeah, but it's a pain in the ass to do. You have to push B every time to hit a level. That's just not
get
worth
a thumb workout.
No. My thumbs do not need to be even beefier than the rest of my hands. No,
I can't
you.
wait to listen back to that episode and then bring it up next week and really.
I'll be 100% honest. I can't even remember the conversation.
You got heated.
Yeah,
you
did.
I get heated about everything, Jim.
No, but like this was Megan and I were like, whoa.
Yeah, you got angry. So many of our comments were just like, Hoffer is just.
All right. Well, okay. So anyway, before we got to get to the Pokemon Fact of the Week where we can talk about this a little bit more. But, Charizard almost had another evolution. We got robbed from it. Maybe we'll see more down the line.
You didn't say its stupid name.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what? I can't even remember what stupid name
it's like Rizagon or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like
that's the other reason. It's because like Raga. It's like Ragamon. It sounds like a goddamn Digimon.
Yeah.
It does. It really does sound like a Digimon. Like everything that I was just like, that's 900% a scrap Digimon that accidentally made it
like
code.
somebody tried to sabotage the Pokemon franchise by sneaking this thing in. And it's like, oh, we're going to ruin Charizard. It was probably, in typical Digimon form, it was probably either like, it would have like evolved into like a dude wearing BDSM gear.
Probably.
With like wings on its head. Because that's how Digimon like digivolve. Like, I don't.
Or just a gun. One or the other.
Just
that's the two options you have with Digimon once you get towards there. But anyways, it's a dumb name. Thank you for scrapping this evolution.
Yeah, thank God. Bullet dodged. Like I said, I'm okay. Like, that Charizard got a Gigantamax. It's that he also got two Mega Evolutions when nobody like hundreds of Pokemon to even get one. And also those Mega Evolutions are lame. Like only one of them is actually cool. That one being the X, the one that he turns into an actual dragon.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, so we almost got that. It was we dodged that bullet. The other thing in the data dump that was pretty big was that when Ruby and Sapphire, that was the first game to introduce double battles, and they almost had combo moves where like Pokemon, like if you use like Gust and like Ember, it would combine to do Heat Wave, which that's actually pretty cool.
Oh man, that's okay. I regret that didn't make it in.
Yeah, that was actually something. I guess they were like, whoa, we're innovating a little bit too much here. Gotta dial it down.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Generation 10.
All right, let's get to the Pokemon Fact of the Week. Christian, what do we got?
All right. So this ties into our discussion about hive mind Pokemon. There is very contradictory information as to whether Magnemite actually needs other Magnemite to evolve into Magneton. If you look in the Pokedex, it says that is what happens. The Magneton is what happens when 3 Magnemite basically get stuck together. However, you only need 1 Magnemite. When it hits a certain level, it evolves. In the anime, when a Magnemite evolves, it just grows to other Magnemite. There is no solid proof that other Magnemite are actually needed. They are just spontaneously producing more Magnemite to form into a Magneton. In
Maybe
fact,
they're just reproducing. Maybe they're just asexual and cloning.
I mean, they are genderless.
Yeah.
Because they're literally just freaking floating magnets. The major question that I have, because we've seen like Pokemon Snap, like multiple Magnemite come together, and in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, they actually have a failed Magnemite evolution where 2 Magnemite come together, but because a third is not present, it doesn't become a Magneton. But if that's all it takes is just 3 Magnemite coming together, that raises questions.
It's not really a skill evolution. It's more of a convenience evolution.
Yeah, it is, because they don't get more intelligent.
But what about is the same thing go for like Diglett and Dugtrio?
Well, we're not even going to get into that. That's an entirely different mess. No one really wants to know what the heck's going on with those. That is one of the great mysteries, other than the fact that Diglett allegedly has feet.
Yes.
But but like for like Pokemon like Beldum, when it evolves into Medtang, that's just like a bunch of Beldum stuck together, and it gets exponentially smarter because they're sharing the brain. That's not the case with Magnemite. It talks about the fact that Magnemite, even though there's 3 Magnemite, it doesn't get 3 times smarter. That's actually a Pokedex entry, which I feels like that's really mean. It's a very mean Pokedex entry. The other thing is, of course, Magnemite and Magneton are very hazardous to humans. They cause headaches, they cause earaches, and they wreck your electronics. Which is
like, if I were Team Rocket, I would just bring a metric ton of Magnemites and Magnetons with me, right? Go to the bank and just let them all loose and let them screw with all the computers and then steal all the money, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm waiting for the terrorist organization who's like, yeah, we're going to erase all the student debt by dropping a Magnemite into some server banks. I feel and they talk about, it's people say leave your Magnemites in your Pokeballs because otherwise they will ruin your credit cards. It's a thing. It's a legitimate thing.
I like how I go, go rob banks and whatever, and Christian's like, be careful of your credit cards.
Have you ever put a magnet on your wallet?
No, those are the worst. That is the worst. That is the worst.
That's objectively the worst.
For sure.
I feel like if the Pokemon universe knows that this is a fact, that they would have figured out something that evolved the form of technology, because these are Gen 1 Pokemon. It's been a while to negate that effect so that they can have it, or they're just super prejudiced against Magnemite and Magneton and they just don't want them around, and that's the excuse that they use.
They seem to be considered to be nuisances. They're the electronic mosquitoes. And also another thing, apparently you'd think that Magnemite floats, obviously Magneton floats. And you'd think those would just be powered by the power of magnetism, right? No, apparently they use anti-gravity, whatever the heck that is, which is a hypothetical force, that's, if it's anything like antimatter, it's literally destroying gravity. It's what is going on with this Pokemon? Magnemite is one of the weird ones.
One Magnemite escaped a laboratory somewhere and just repopulated, became an invasive species, and just totally became flying trash magnets that everyone hates now.
I agree with you. I don't think it's a real Pokemon. I think it is a human experiment gone terribly wrong.
Well, on that note, we have learned everybody in the Pokemon universe hates flying trash magnets, and it's probably their own fault that they exist.
Yep, the folly of human in magnet form.
Oh, that's so sad. I'm sure look, we know Magnemite is someone's favorite because of that poll from way back when.
Well, and Andy got us a song. He got a full song.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Where it's just meat mop type song.
Great, that was perfect.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Christian Hopper, professional Magnemite.
Right. All right. Well, That about does it for this week's episode of A Wild Podcast Has Appeared. If you would like to find a way to get involved in the show or help the show out, why don't you head on over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, and if we read it on the show, you get a free Comicbook.com t-shirt. Thanks for everyone who has done so and for the reviews that we have read over the past couple of weeks. Once we are back into our office, those shirts will be going out, so please be patient with us, and we do appreciate the patience. If you want to get involved just by talking to us on Twitter, you can find me at Jim Viscardi.
I'm on Twitter at Megan Peters CB.
And I am at Seahoffer Cbus.
We will answer any and all questions you have about Pokemon. We will give you our opinions on Pokemon and everything in between. We are not shy and appreciate everyone who gets in touch with us, because we love our little podcast family that we are growing. It's fun.
Mhm.
Anyway, you can find this show anywhere podcasts can be found. So if this is the first one you're listening to, hit that subscribe button. Come back next week, every Thursday, or when new episodes come out. You can find them wherever major podcasts are distributed, iTunes, Stitcher, you know it, wherever. You can also find it on the website if you want to come to Comicbook.com. Any of the anime or gaming stories have a place for you to stream it at the bottom of the stories, or with relevant links to get it and take it on the go. So however you want to listen to it, there are so many options. Pick one and roll with it. So until next time, we'll catch you next week, and be safe. Have fun. Have fun, folks.